beautiful, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bettina, I'm the makeup enthusiast. In today's video we are doing my update on one of my favorite projects, which is my Pan Those Eyeshadows project pan. So if you want to see how I went on my eyeshadows from the last month, then stay tuned. But before we get into the video, if you are new around here and you want to keep up to date on this project pan or any of my other project pans, make sure you subscribe down below. And without further ado, let's jump on into the video. I have exciting news. I have two pans. I have two pans to roll out, so I'm going to share those with you. But before we get to those ones, I'm going to share with you my updates on the ones that I'm not doing too well on. So we'll start off with, let's start with the worst one. Now the worst one is one that I rolled in last month, and that comes from my Be Perfect Carnivore for the Antidote palette. From this palette, I rotated in the color Pin Up. That was to match prompt number 88, which is a red shimmer shadow. Now, unfortunately, I'm not doing too well on this one, and I've only, where is it? I've only used this one once. I mean, you can see a little bit of a dip starting to form in that one there, but I have only used it once. I really need to up my game on this one. It just hasn't fit well with the other shadows that I've been working on lately. So it's been a little bit difficult to incorporate without like having to only use one shadow. I like when I can do looks that use multiple shadows from project pans as opposed to like looks where there's only just the one single shadow. So that's why this one has been on the back burner a little bit, but I think I need to give this one some love over the next month. Then we have my next one, which also isn't doing very well. This comes from my Glaminatrix Nearly Natural palette. From this palette, I'm working on the color Down to Earth. This one is for prompt number 3, which is your least favorite shadow from your favorite palette. Now, Down to Earth is this color right here. I currently am only sitting at 16 uses on this one. I do feel like you're starting to see a bit of a dip forming in there, but I'm just having a lot of trouble putting and giving some love to this shadow, especially given that in my project Level Up that I'm currently working on, my Flower Punk palette does have like half of that palette is like those olivey green colors. So I'm kind of reaching for that one at the moment, trying to get my uses out of that as opposed to focusing on this one. Whereas I need to be a little bit more inclusive. I need to use this one and that palette. So hopefully over the next month I can get up some more uses on this one. And the last one that I need to update you on comes from my Colourpop Just My Luck palette. This is the prompt number 65. Well, this is for the prompt number 66, which is a shadow that starts with the letter O. For that one, I rotated in this color here, and it's called Olive You. Now, Olive You, I have only used 6 times. This one has not been getting anywhere near enough love purely because of my palette that I have in my project Level Up. In my project Level Up palette, there is a shadow that is quite similar to this one in the Flower Punk palette by Kaleidos, but the difference between them is the Flower Punk palette shadow, like in terms of just the impact and the shine and just the way it looks on their eyes, it just outshines this one tenfold. So I haven't been reaching for this one as much because I've been focusing on the Flower Punk palette, but I do want to try and focus on this one over the next month and give it some love. I might try and maybe use this one as a nail polish just to see how it works that way. That might be a preferred method for me just to get some more uses out of it. Those are the 3 that I'm currently not working very well on. The 2 that I have here pan are from these 2 palettes. Now, the Glaminatrix Silent Night palette I believe has been in since the start of the year. The Charlotte Tilbury palette, I believe I only rotated in last month. So I'm doing pretty well, I think, considering like keeping it fresh and new, and also getting one that's been in the project for a while out of the rotation. We'll start off with the Glaminatrix shadow. So this comes from the Silent Night palette. This was to match the prompt of a shadow that starts with the letter J. From this palette, I rotated in the color Jingle Bells, and I don't know whether you can see, but there is a little pan right in the middle there. I am wearing this on my lids today as the shimmer, and over the last month, I've just really discovered how beautiful this can look on the lid when you pair it with just like a bronzer in the crease and just like a little bit darker on the outer corner. Put this over the lid and it just looks like a really nice, like subtle, twinkly, like beautiful natural look. So I'm really happy to say that I think this might be my first pan in a Glaminatrix palette, or even like a Glaminatrix shadow in general. So I'm very happy to report that, and I'm also happy to see this palette getting some more love. But I kind of want to keep it in the rotation now. I might keep this one in like my everyday makeup drawer for just a little bit longer because I'm really loving this look at the moment. So I might keep wearing this one a little bit more, but for this project, for all intents and purposes, it is rotating out. I did manage to hit pan on this one with 13 uses. I'm very happy to see pan on that one. I'm very happy that I got some good love and use out of this one. And last but not least is the ColourPop shadow. Last but not least is the Charlotte Tilbury shadow. Now, this one comes in under the prompt of a shadow that I wanted to pan. I've been wanting to pan a shadow from this palette for a little while now. This one is a palette that I always kind of take away with me when I go like on vacations or just like overnight, anything like that, because I always find I get a really beautiful look out of this palette. It's a very basic palette, but I just find the looks that I create with this palette always look really flattering on my eyes. For this one, I rotated in the color. Now, these don't really have shadow names, but I called this one Smoke Love Eyes. So it is this shimmer here, and as you can see, I've got a nice little dip and pan in that center there. I was wearing this one a lot with my Flower Punk palette, and it looked really beautiful paired with the pink matte shadows from the Flower Punk palette. So I managed to pan on this one. It only took me 13 uses, so I was wearing this very consistently. It became like one of my go-to work looks, so I was able to use it very regularly, and I managed to hit pan on it super quickly. Those are my two shadows that are rolling out. So that means I need to pick 2 new prompts to find 2 new shadows. Let me bring up my Pretty Random app. I think I'm gonna have to do a tiny decisions for this one as well, because I think it's starting to get to the point where I will start getting a lot of like double ups when I'm rotating through, because I'm starting to hit off a lot of prompts off this spreadsheet. So I just need 2 prompts. Let's go. We have number 18 and number 43. Okay, 43 I've already done, and 18 I've already done. This is exactly what I'm talking about. We have 85 and 76. 76 I can do, and number 85 I can also do. Number 76 is Pan Graveyard. So this means a product that I've previously tried to hit pan on but didn't. And number 85 is a outer corner / deepening shade. So kind of a little bit boring on both of them, but I'm gonna go hunt around in my collection, and I will be back in a second with the shadows that I've picked. I'm back after choosing my shadows. I'm not entirely sure I'm comfortable with my decisions, but we're gonna run with it, and I don't know. This is starting to get very difficult. I don't know if I've told you guys, but I am really trying to get my collection to the point where every palette has at least 1 shadow pan in it. So it's like, you know, getting down to the pointy end of things where it's getting a little bit difficult to choose shadows that kind of support that, you know, that goal. I think maybe for pan those eyeshadows, maybe I need to like loosen the reins or like loosen the grip with that one. And then like my project level up, I can really focus on that goal in that project. I don't know. I'm gonna have to have a little think about it. Let's go through my prompts. So my pan graveyard, I've actually grabbed out my Glaminatrix Santa Rose palette. This is actually the first palette that Glaminatrix ever did. I tried to pan the color Petal, which is this one here, up here, in the past, and I failed miserably. I failed miserably, however, because the shadow was like shattered. So I decided that like at the end of trying to hit pan on this one, that I would repress it. So I've since repressed it, which it's looking a lot better now. I don't know what kind of condition the shadow is now. I don't know what kind of condition the shadow is in now since I've repressed it. I do need to repress this color Nectar, which is this one here. I don't know whether you can see that. It's also completely shattered, but I think maybe if I repress Nectar, it would just make me feel a little bit more comfortable about using this palette more often. I also need to like clean up Jasmine here because Petal just was a massive mess. So I am going to rotate in the color Petal. I've tried to hit pan on it in the past. I'm going to try to hit pan on it again this time, with the exception that if this eyeshadow starts turning disastrous because of its history of being like, you know, shattered and repressed and whatnot, I might reevaluate if that starts happening. So Petal is just like a mauvey pink. That's what it looks like there. And again, these, they don't really, I'm really nervous about how well these are going to mesh well together, but it is what it is. The next one that I'm rotating in comes from my Natasha Denona Gold palette. This is for the outer corner deepening shade. I'm rotating in the color Log, which is this one here. And I'm very nervous because one, this doesn't really go, I don't think, in my opinion, probably well with some of the other shadows. But also on top of that, I just rotated in a Natasha Denona eyeshadow and they are notoriously difficult to hit pan on. So I am not sure how I'm going to go on this matte shadow. I've in the past previously hit pan on a shimmer from Natasha Denona. However, it took me ages and like I was wearing that shadow consistently because I just like fell in love with it. So I was just constantly reaching back for it. I've previously hit a pan in a shimmer and a matte. The matte took an eternity, like 6 months of very regular use. So we shall see on this one, but given I know how hard they are, it's probably a good idea that they're rotating in so early on in the piece, but I'm still very nervous. So that's those two, and then we also have my other ones that are still in the project. So my Glaminatrix Nearly Natural Down to Earth. Actually, maybe this one might go well with this matte. Oh, maybe. Actually, we might have some promise here. So we've got 3 mattes and 2 shimmers. I usually like to work on more shimmers because I just find shimmers easier to hit pan on, but it is what it is. And then we have Colourpop Olive You. Be a perfect pin-up. Okay, so it's not as bad as I thought, but that pink, it just very much sticks out. But this is the color story that I will be working on for the next month. I know I said last month that I was nervous that I was not going to hit any pans, but I think legitimately this next month, I don't know if I'm going to hit any pans. I'm very nervous about this, so we shall see how we go. I think the only thing maybe that might save my bacon is if maybe I use these shimmers as maybe nail polishes, but that's my plan at the moment for a lot of shadows, so I need to figure some other better plan out. but I definitely need to wear these a lot more. Like I said, I'm nervous. Let me know if you have any ideas of how I can work with this color story. Please let me know down in the comments. If you did enjoy this video, please let me know down in the comments while you're down there if you are working on any project panning eyeshadow projects, or if you're just trying to pan an eyeshadow palette at the moment. Let me know how you're going down in the comments. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new around here and you want to keep up to date on this project or any of my other project pans that I'm working on at the moment. That's it for this video, beautiful. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye, beautiful.